podcast you listen back for again since the release of Batman on HBO Max. Now everybody can watch the show. We're here with our co-host, MC Brown. MC, you there?
I am here. Hello, guys.
All right, and we also brought on our always welcomed wrestling, but this time it's going to be movie critic, the Ramrock.
Hello, guys. Thank you so much for having me, as always. I'm really excited to talk about something other than wrestling for once.
Yes.
I'm excited that we all sound very clear on this. We're going to dedicate this to our buddy Executioner, who's out there, who listens as a frequent listener, who gave us some advice. So hopefully we get some feedback on the new audio system we have. We think everybody's connected, and so hopefully I'm recording. That's the only thing I can think
about. Great show, guys. We didn't get any of it on tape.
It was a good time. Good time.
Yeah, he's listens to us on his commute, like some of our other listeners, and we appreciate you guys, no matter how you're listening to us, that you're listening at all. We appreciate it, and yeah, we're gonna have some good stuff this week. We've locked the Ramrock in the studio, so he tried to leave after the wrestling episodes last time. So he said, screw it, I'm just going to stay and do a movie review now.
Again, I'm very excited to talk about something other than pro wrestling.
Was it in German?
It was not in German, no. I watched
subtitles.
The regular English one.
I am Batman.
Yeah, they talk. Hello, I am Catwoman. Hear me roar.
Well, now I got to go back and watch it in German. Shoot.
Yeah. He's talking to German Riddler in the prison. Oh, you don't know my plan, Batman.
Yeah. Well, let's go in. Let's get in. Me and Rock were talking a little bit, MC, before you got on. Yes. He made a good observation about, what is this guy's name? Patterson? Say it again, Ramrock. Pattinson. What was the observation about his hair?
Robert Pattinson.
So, I mean, obviously we're going to go into this in detail, but I didn't hate the movie. You know, it was actually pretty good. I didn't think Robert Pattinson did a horrible job. The thing that bugged me the most, though, was his soccer mom hair. He just, Bruce Wayne is, he's a billionaire. He's supposed to be very clean cut. He's supposed to look the part. And I don't know, he just kind of looked like a sloppy soccer mom to me, which kind of threw me off a little bit.
Sloppy soccer mom.
It was like his little like weird makeup and like the hair. And I was just like, I don't know about this. But.
He was apparently in the early recluse stages of Wayne. So like it was supposed to be set, I want to say in year 2, where he's already knows Commissioner Gordon. He's had a run-in with some of the villains and not Riddler, of course, but yeah, he's still just like the commissioner, or the mayoral candidate. She was like, so far you've done nothing. Your family's been a bunch of philanthropists. So far you've done So it's apparently after he's came back from all his training and he's still aloof. So he hasn't, what I'm guessing is he has not adopted the guise technically of Bruce Wayne, the Playboy, yet. He's still in aloof stage, and maybe he's a little too recluse because even Batman, but I mean the running theme is, if you understand Batman, at Bruce Wayne is the disguise. Bruce Wayne is the mask, and Batman is his true, basically, personality.
Right, which Riddler essentially, he essentially talks about that, towards the end of the movie when they're sitting there talking in the prison cell. He's like, I'm seeing the true you, and so on and so forth.
Yeah.
Well,
makes sense.
So the question is, and this is the part I thought about the movie that made me, because I saw it in the theaters. So, and the seats in the Harkins Theater are so comfortable now. You could fall asleep during this movie. And what I said is, I think Batman it was like season 1, 2, and 3 all wrapped into a 3-hour session. That's what it felt like watching in Batman. I felt like we were watching 3 seasons at once. And the part that always made me laugh is no one ever knew his name. They just were like, "Who are you?" And what did he say his name was? Vengeance?
I'm Vengeance.
Yeah. And he didn't even
That's
say
pretty
it.
good.
He didn't even say it like that. He didn't even say "I'm vengeance." He just had like the normal voice. He's like "I'm vengeance," and then like halfway through, he went into the Christian Bale like his voice all of a sudden was raspy, and so I think he had a hard time figuring out like who he should be, like how what kind of Batman should he be, and all I kept thinking was no one knew who he was, but though the beginning of the movie it made it sound like he he had his little bat signal. Everybody saw it and they were afraid of it, but then when he would show up, they're like, "Who are you?" So it's like you don't even have a presence.
Yeah, that
man.
was a little just jarring.
Yeah, I thought you were Batman. Everybody saw the sign, they ran away, but then when you show up, they're like, this guy, we don't know this guy. Well, you ran away.
Instead of scattering, they stick around to get their ass kicked by him.
Yeah, and if a dude shows up in big metal boots and sounds like RoboCop walking around, I don't think you're going to try to hit him with a stick and see what happens. Did it not sound like RoboCop every time he walked around?
That's a good comparison because I didn't think about that, but yeah, that is funny.
It's like
thinking about that reminded me.
It's like okay, so you can run around him. He can't catch you. He's got big metal boots on. He's not going to move too quick. So don't come at him head on. Come at an angle, like go around him.
Yeah,
like
in the opening sequence, right? When not really the opening sequence, but like when he walks up and all like the thugs are trying to rob that guy in the train area, and like he walks up and you could clearly tell like it wasn't like a traditional Batman where like he just goes in, or I should say like a Christian Bale Batman where he just like comes in and whoops everybody's ass, like he almost like struggled to like beat them almost, which was kind of a different scenario. It was something I definitely wasn't expecting with this. And obviously like Robert Pattinson struggled to gain the size to get this role. And so I think they kind of played on that a little bit. Like it took him like most of the time in Batman movies, he just goes in there and it's like pow, kick, punch, and he just like decimates everybody. But in this version, it was like he almost struggled to like beat people like just like regular old thugs. So, and maybe they were playing on the fact that Robert Pattinson's a really skinny guy. I don't know.
I think if there was a plan to, I don't know if they were really concentrating on Pattinson's size so much as if there was a plan to show his vulnerability like that, I think it was because of the year two nature. I still don't agree with that. I think just like you're saying, Rock, and what Coach JC's alluding to as well, is just, like in previous Batman incarnations, you picture him in and out like a ninja. He's just decimates the whole crew. He doesn't come forward like head on these guys. He basically just,
right. He
just absorbs them into the darkness and scares the hell out of them while dismantling them at the same time. So this was a different way to show him, I'm going to get you head on, and then I'm going to take some licks. And near the end too, which we'll get towards that later as well. I didn't like that part either. I just think, the showing him too vulnerable, almost alluding to, he's still kind of a young Batman, doesn't really translate to, I think, what people really wanted to see.
Is he a young Batman in this one, though? I mean, we talked also about this off where we're like, none of the cops even like him. They're like, hey, man, get out of here. We hate you. Like, no one respects. And the thing about him is, we were talking about this before, Rock, that all of a sudden it's like he's just a outsider in the police department, but for some reason he's invited into any crime scene. And the police are like, hey, Commissioner, you can't be in here. And they're like, oh, no, it's cool. He's cool. He's Batman. And and when they'd yell at him, he would just stare at him with like a blank stare, like he doesn't know what to say. Like he doesn't say anything. They're like, you can't be in here. He just stares him through the corner of his eye like he's going to kill him. And I'm thinking, they do have the right of way. You're not really a cop. So what the hell are you doing in the crime scene? He's like, well, I'm Batman and I know how to solve things, especially riddles. In this movie, he's the master of riddles. He knows how to solve every riddle. Doesn't even have to think about it. Like he doesn't even like the old school Batman from the 60s. Remember those MC where the Batman would like rub his head like he's thinking for a minute. Not even in this one. He would they'd say a riddle and he'd be like,
Justice.
Yeah,
Justice.
just so like in 2 seconds he would just be like, yeah, like no one else would have a chance. Like people should be like, dude, give us a chance, man. We were thinking about. I was writing it down. I was trying to solve it, but you just like blurted it out, bastard. It's not just
Yeah. It did seem like Adam West took a long time trying to discover what the problem is here, Robin, that we don't know. Trying to figure out why Catwoman has left kitty litter all over the ground.
Yeah, it gives the audience like a moment to think about the stupid riddle too, but you're like, no one's allowed to know the riddle, only Batman, and he's just gonna blurt it out like an asshole at a party in the middle of like a Pictionary game where it's not even your turn. It's like, I'm just gonna go ahead and draw. I'm just gonna go ahead and start drawing bathtub. Oh, you son of a bitch, dude! What the hell? We didn't even. We drew like a line.
You didn't even give us a chance.
He's got infrared vision in his cowl that he's just looking at the cards. He already knows the answer on the bottom of the card.
You know, there's someone on the police department. It's like, oh, dude, I was totally gonna get that, and you took away my moment. And you're Batman. You already got a cool suit and shit. Give me a moment so I can get in with the commish too. Maybe he can let me in on some secrets. But no, I can't solve any riddles because you're just Mr. Riddle Man. Maybe you're the Riddler. That's what I would have said during the movie. Maybe you're the Riddler, you bastard.
I think maybe they didn't do the greatest job to maybe like not like a comic book nerd like I would consider myself a longtime comic historian or whatever. So I don't think because I knew a lot of stuff going into the film, I would think that maybe they didn't do a good enough job explaining where Batman was in his early career. Like I knew it because enough of the backstory was all these a lot of YouTube shows now, they delve right into all these, hey, this is where Batman is at his career. So, it seems to be obvious to someone who's jumping into the lore of everything, but I believe maybe to the casual moviegoer, Batman watcher, fan, whatever, that maybe didn't realize where this was supposed to take place in Batman's, vigilante / crime fighting career, I think is maybe potentially part of the problem.
I can see that, but honestly, I actually enjoyed the fact that this wasn't an origin story. It was like, we've been just drowning in origin story movies, like, especially with superhero movies for like the last 10 years. And so the fact that this one was just like, we know who Batman is, and he's right in the mix of things. And I really, really enjoyed the fact that they emphasize his detective side, because like that was always such a big part of Batman. And I think that was like in the Christian Bale Batman movies, you could kind of see the detective a little bit, but it was more like technology based. Like this one, the Batman, you could actually see him using his detective skills and deducing things, looking at the crime scene. But the whole I can answer any riddle like with the snap of my fingers and he figures it out like that was a little off-putting as well. It was like, where's the challenge here? Especially at the end.
It's Sherlock. It's Sherlock Holmes Batman.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, that was kind of the vibe that I got with it. But like, especially at the end, like the only time he kind of struggles is when he gets the little like carpet prior thing, and then he's like trying to look at it, but he still figures it out right away. So, but I did like the fact that it wasn't. It wasn't an origin story.
He figured it out with the cops' help, kind of though, which was kind of lame in itself. But
yeah. The cop just kind of gave it to him. He's just like, hey, what are you doing here? Oh, yeah. My uncle used to be a carpet installer. And he's like, ding. Oh, yeah.
Do you think that has anything to do with the Riddler? Yeah. Hey, Batman, what are you looking at the floor so long for? Do you think you're looking at that thing you wrote on it? Is that what it is? What's that?
Here's something. Go ahead.
You think we should rip up the carpet and see what's underneath of it? I mean, we didn't think about that. I went through
there's a map there.
All those years of detective skills and all those years of being in the police department and taking all those classes. All I needed was you, Batman, to come in with your mind and just say, "Oh, look, a carpet tool. Let's just rip up the carpet."
Don't forget the look. Coach Sissy, do not forget the look. Batman looked over at him and looked, with that intimidating face.
So
that helped solve.
Again, it's with the blank stare that is known all so well from Twilight. Edward.
Yes.
That's what I was waiting for.
Yeah.
Not seeing Twilight though, so I wasn't ruined by
here it is.
Previous
everything you
incarnation of a glittery vampire. I wasn't ruined by that impression. All I seen him was on his commercials for the movies. So
do you remember the part where he's looking at the computer and Alfred comes in and he looks all distraught. His hair is just all messed up, and he's just like looking like he's struggling to just breathe. That's Edward from Twilight. Every moment that something happens, he looks sad and just like, I just don't know if I can do this anymore. Like, he just looks like he struggles. He struggles to be alive, and that's what it looks like in Batman. So, again, I go back to, I think he did a pretty damn good job. He exceeded my expectations of being Batman. I kind of believed it a little bit. But every time he took his mask off, all I was expecting was the girl from Twilight to show up, and he'd be like, do you have my baby? Because he had a baby with this girl, and they had like
Kristen Stewart or something. Wasn't she in the running for Catwoman too?
Yeah,
Kristen
she should have been Catwoman. Oh, if that would have happened, that movie would have blown up. It would have been Twilight. It would have been Batman Twilight the reunion.
Yeah,
Batman
exactly.
Twilight. So here's this. We've had discussion on this before, and then we're glad to have The Rock here for a 3-man discussion here. Well, I want to try to do so we're not like it's just a bag fest, the whole thing. What I try to do is get your opinions. I can start too. Is just what was the thing you enjoyed the most of the movie? So, like, if there was some positive from the movie, like, I said, I can go first here with this. So, like, the one major, most positive thing you enjoyed about the movie. And me going in, I thought Colin Farrell's Penguin was just incredible. I loved how he portrayed him. He looked completely unrecognizable, and I wish the main villain was Penguin. Between you guys and me, I just thought he just did a great job as Penguin, and he felt really like a mobster douchebag, slimy, especially the car chase. Loved the car chase, and I wish there would have been more of Penguin and less of Riddler, believe it or not.
That's definitely an interesting outtake on it, because my favorite part of the movie was actually, like, this was my favorite Riddler that they've ever done personally. He was like, just like,
Mark doesn't agree with you on this one. I think you're going to get into a huge discussion on this one.
Well, good. Our listeners will appreciate it then.
Yeah, different views.
Absolutely. No, I personally loved this Riddler. I thought this was one of the best, like, portrayals of the Riddler that I've seen. I mean, granted, like, the fact that he was, an insane lunatic, and, that was kind of like copying the Joker almost a little bit. But, like, the way that they, like how he was essentially portrayed as this, like, serial killer, who left like clues and riddles. It was just so different than like the cartoony comic book Batman that we saw, or the worst Riddler ever was the Jim Carrey one. But I thought this one was darker. He was more grimacing, a little more evil. And then of course when you see him, like at the very end when they finally catch him, he's just this total freaking nerd. But I thought how they caught him, I'm just ordering a piece of pumpkin pie. That was a little anticlimactic, but
yeah,
the interview scene was really cool. I loved that part.
Coach JC, you said it best, and you like what he looked like. He looked like
a gimp.
Yeah.
He reminded me of Pulp Fiction. He reminded me of Pulp Fiction when the gimp is in the corner. You guys have seen Pulp Fiction, have you not?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Yes.
So when the gimp's in the corner and they're railing that dude, and so you're like, that's what it looked like. It just looked like a dude wearing a gimp mask, and I'm thinking,
angry moms.
That's
now.
the Riddler. And then the part that bothered me the most is that was available at the Spirit Halloween store at the end of the movie when he announces that he wants everybody to join in and be a part of his whatever, and they all had the same outfit. So then it's like, wow, they can all just purchase this. That just didn't seem right.
It was just stupid. But what did you like? What did you like best about the film, though, Coach G? Was it Batman when he was Batman? Was that your favorite part of the film? When he was not Bruce Wayne, when he was Batman?
My favorite part was the popcorn. So,
oh jeez, wow!
I like the popcorn. The popcorn was yummy, and it's never, haven't been in the movie theaters in such a long time that popcorn I missed it. So, but I say the best part of the movie, I told you, was when he showed up and he started beating people up, and they're trying to shoot him, and you just keep seeing flashes of him just kicking people's ass in the middle of the tunnel.
In the club, right?
Yeah.
Or no,
when he's in like a tunnel area when he's towards the end. But like I said, I think if you had to highlight a part of the movie that I thought surprised me was his role as Batman. He didn't do a bad job playing the character.
No, he did a great job.
And I thought this is going to be a train wreck because he's got this stink of being Edward from Twilight. And so if you've never seen it before, you wouldn't relate it to, but his character, unfortunately, he's typecasted as a vampire in those Twilight shows. But I think he did a pretty good job setting the tone for being like a mysterious character to be Batman. And I think that was pretty cool. So I think that overall the movie wasn't like a total dump. I was expecting it to just be horrible, but if I had to give it like a rating, I would say it's like a C+ in my opinion. And we'll get over like which Batman's the best later on in this podcast, but I just think that overall, I think him being his character wasn't bad. I just think the movie itself, like I said, it felt like we were watching 3 different episodes because again, the Penguin, I had no idea who that was. And that was probably the most standout character in this movie was the Penguin.
Yeah.
And you wish there was more about him, but I think what they're doing is they're probably trying to draw that out. They have to build
for a sequel.
Yeah, they're drawing that out because they're going to find out that people really liked watching his character, and it was just it kind of like the best Penguin to me besides this one would have been the one during the Gotham series. That dude that plays the Penguin during the Gotham series, I think, is a great Penguin too.
Well, they've all had pretty good versions of him. Like DeVito had an iconic. DeVito was more of a beastly version, but he was just kind of a very memorable version. And then how could you not love Burgess Meredith too in the '60s series too? So, like every Penguin has had a certain ownership to their role of it. Yes, he had a completely different take on him, and it's hard to believe that was actually Colin Farrell too, because he was just completely unrecognizably lost in that role, and he just did a phenomenal job, I thought.
Yep, we'll definitely see. Assuming, of course, they're going to make a sequel to this, which I imagine they will. I imagine we're going to see a lot more of the Penguin.
Well, actually, yeah, forward. But before I forget, there is an HBO series in development on the Penguin. So actually, you are going to see a lot more of the Penguin because they are developing I think they changed a Gotham PD because that was going to be a series, and now that's going to be more like an Arkham series. And there's actually an actual Penguin series in development right now that's going to happen.
So let's get this on track. Go ahead, Rocky. Go ahead.
Okay. Sorry, I just had a really quick question
sure.
to MC.
Sure.
As a comic book enthusiast, I'm a little rusty with my comic book Batman, but
yeah,
was there ever a time in the Batman lore where Bruce Wayne's father was actually dirty, like they portrayed him in this movie? Because I can't remember ever a time.
What they did in later, no, and you're right. What they did in later years, as they rebooted the franchise about a little over 10 years ago, they created a evil organization called, and this is potentially future movie villains, called the Court of Owls. So this group was supposed to be behind the scenes, eyes wide shut type of rich elitists running Gotham. And they wanted to give the illusion that maybe the Waynes were involved with it. But obviously with a crooked, dirty Waynes, that kind of just kills Batman's revenge or avenging story. So the problem with that is what you have to do is you can't go too dirty with the Waynes, and you can't besmirch Thomas Wayne to the point where now he's not even an avengable character. So I think this movie towed the line, but they also tried to explain it, thank goodness, with Alfred saying, like, as soon as he found out what Falcone did with killing that reporter, he was going to go to the police, and then it was implied that Falcone killed him. So yeah, it's a good question, Rock. I mean, I don't like going that far towards that because you got to. I mean, I like the fact that they were showing the kind of like his mom was a little unstable because that, inheriting some of that genetics from his mom would explain why he's on some sort of psychotic crime fighting mission. So I'm completely fine with the mental, illness of Martha. When it comes to Thomas, you got to keep him pretty clean, I think. Otherwise, you're looking at why would Batman avenge, a dirty father, basically, so to speak.
Exactly. I was like, wait a second, where are they going with this? Like, this is so far different than any other Batman like story, because Thomas Wayne was like he was like the pinnacle of good. He was like the only guy who ever tried to save Gotham, and all the gangsters and Falcone and everybody was just, you wanted to tear it down. But, Thomas Wayne, the upstanding person. And, of course, like that's Batman's whole story, is his parents get killed and he is trying to avenge and protect the city that his parents have worked so hard to protect.
Yeah. And then there goes another episode, right? Season 6.
Yep.
Now we're finding out something else about Batman. It's like, and he never passed the spelling bee contest he did in 6th grade.
He cheated.
Do you remember that, Bruce? Do you remember when the spelling bee and your father helped you cheat during that? Do you remember? Oh, season 8.
Here's a question for you guys that a lot of movie watchers or people thought through the film. Did you actually believe that Riddler knew he was Bruce Wayne?
Oh, that's a good question.
I did.
I mean, he had.
You think he did, Coach Chasey?
Yeah,
I do.
I think he did too.
And it kept alluding to it until he saw him in the police station, right?
Yeah.
And then you're like, wait a minute. I thought he knew. Everybody thought he knew. Bruce thought he knew, but then he kind of acted like he didn't. So again, it was like a buildup. Like I was expecting some big unveiling to happen, and then he was gonna have to kill everybody that found out he was Bruce Wayne. But it was just like
kill everybody that he found out is Bruce Wayne.
Oh no, you're Bruce Wayne, like Spider-Man. It's Peter Parker. Oh my gosh, we better bring back all the Peter Parkers.
He's gonna turn into a vampire bat from Twilight and kill everybody.
All of a sudden, he just rips off his suit and he's like, you know what? I can't do this anymore. I'm going back to the Twilight series.
I don't think he should know, even though I have some friends that believe, he's smart enough to know. He figured it out in certain stories. I don't really like, especially in your first movie, you're bringing him in, like you got the first villain figures out who he is. I just didn't like the backstory. He's a bitter orphan. Now he's dressing like a gimp, like you said, Coach JC. Now he's Jigsaw, the freaking Saw murderer, fucking doing stupid, sick things to kill these people. I'm like, my Riddler's Frank Gorshin, and it's just not. He didn't jibe with me, especially when the movie last, this time it's what I didn't like about the film. I just felt like when they captured Falcone, he should have found out, okay, the sniper just hit him. That's Riddler himself. That should be the chasing Riddler, chasing him down and do that. We didn't need 40 more minutes of. First, they capture him in the cafe. Then you case his apartment. Now you visit him in jail. Now he reveals the plan. Flood. Boom. Now you're fighting goons. It's just like way too. I'm all for a movie if it's long and good, like The Dark Knight, but long and bad, like the last 40 minutes of this plot were at the end. To me, there wasn't enough meat before that. The car chase and Penguin and stuff wasn't enough to carry the movie, even though I felt it ended in a whimper. It just basically ended. It ended without that bang you needed for such a iconic character in film. That was my biggest issue with it.
It did end with a whimper. I definitely agreed. Like where was the big showdown? Between. Yeah. Well, I mean, and I guess you can't have a big showdown between Batman and Riddler, right? You just can't, because Riddler's just a weak little, skinny nerd, insane dude.
I guess.
So you can't have like a big battle, but but regardless, it still did end with a whimper. Like all he did was fight some goons, and the biggest thing that he took was a shotgun blast. And they everyone he goes and he takes a shotgun blast, and then Catwoman comes and saves him, and then Catwoman gets attacked, and then Batman saves her, and then it's like, oh wait, what's Batman gonna do? He's gonna jump off onto this electric pole, and why is he doing that?
Where's his grappling hook? I mean, that's all he used in the movie.
Right. And then like there's the dramatic fall scene where it's like, oh well, Batman's dead, and then he just like climbs out like nothing happened. Like the ending sucked. It was bad.
Okay,
yeah,
it was really
just
bad.
So let's get into that one. What about Catwoman, Rock? What'd you think about Catwoman?
I thought that the actress who played her did a really good job.
Zoe Kravitz.
I mean, you know, I thought she played the character well and definitely kept to the origins of Catwoman. You know, there was kind of like that weird, like off again, on again, off again romance between her and Batman. Like she was interested, you know. So I thought overall she did a pretty good job. I can't remember that she was ever Falcone's daughter, which was kind of weird. But
that was a later thing, kind of revealed in the Long Halloween.
Okay.
You know, that graphic novel which people can buy, and then I think followed up in there was a Catwoman trade called When in Rome, where she was investigating her Italian roots, and it was revealed, I think, during the kind of Jeff Loeb run, when you know that type of stuff, where you know they kind of tied her into Falcon. Like that was very true. A lot of the elements of these were taken like straight out of certain runs of the comics, like when Riddler blew up basically I don't know, the levees or whatever that flooded the city.
Seawall.
That was
your
seawall. That was basically done in a trade I was reading recently called 0 Year. So they took certain elements straight out of. They plucked this from Long Halloween. They plucked this out of 0 Year. They plucked this. So they took certain elements from different parts of a lot of these characters' histories and just kind of cherry picked what they wanted to use, of course, and some of them were literally straight out of the comics, which in a lot of cases is really good. And then in some cases, it just depends on your interpretation and favorite interpretation of them. I mean, I didn't expect going in for him to be working with Catwoman on a allied side so quickly. So from the trailer, you really can't tell that. So I felt that was different, but not in a bad way. I kind of liked how they were doing that. That she kind of disappeared for a little bit. And I just didn't, again, with that ending sequence, she saves him because he's not showing fighting prowess, just like you guys were saying earlier. He's just taking shots, shooting him, and why don't you just shoot him in the face if he's just going to be shot and I can't do anything. It's just not showing any fighting prowess. And then at the end, he's on the ledge. He has to be saved, and then to avenge Catwoman getting her ass kicked, he stabs himself with we believe is supposed to be like Bane's venom, I guess, rage venom. Okay. So and then he goes crazy and starts wailing on the guy. I mean, it's just. I don't know.
I think the part
too long.
When you say shoot him in the face, do you remember Blank Man with Damon Wayans? Do you remember Blank Man? I don't think I've seen Blank Man. You gotta watch that. So he soaks his little. He becomes a superhero and he soaks his suit, and it becomes bulletproof. And everybody's shooting at him, and he's fighting. And it's supposed to be a spoof. And the guy's shooting at him, and it's bouncing off his chest, and he's just standing there. And then one of the other goons is standing there, and they go, "Why don't you shoot him in the face?" And I'm thinking that's just exactly what you think when you're shooting Batman. It's like bing, bing, ding, ding, bing, boom, bing. You're like, hey, you can shoot him right in the face. You can hit him right in the face.
How could he not? Yeah, how could he not get hit by a ricocheted bullet either? If you're shooting a million bullets at him in a fucking whatever corridor or whatever the hell, and one of them's not going to ricochet off and hit him in the chin or something, like it's like. I don't know. It was a little ridiculous.
What kind of movie switch would that be if they hit him in the cheek and he's like, "Ow!"
Comes out of there and he's all bleeding from the whatever portion of his face that's left.
His lips just hanging off, and he's like, "It looks like I can't eat soup anymore." Hey man, but you saved everybody.
Who are you supposed to be? What did you say?
I'm a
like Rocky.
Yeah. I was just about to say that.
Yeah, maybe you need a bulletproof mask over that bottom portion of your face, Batman.
Yeah, why don't you wear a mask? I also didn't like it. I also didn't like it that Batman was like current, like he had a social media following and all that. Like the Riddler had all that social media.
Oh, the Riddler did, yeah.
So that's what threw me off about the movie too. I was like, okay, like the setting was old, but all of a sudden people's got iPhones and social media, but like still you see like some old cars driving around. That really bugged me. Like the whole weirdness behind the cinematography was
I think
so
that's
weird.
kind of been the consistent thing though with the aesthetic of Gotham though. They've always tried to make, and that goes back to the Batman animated series cartoon, Gotham, the TV series, which we referenced earlier. That Batman always kind of is in some sort of timeless. That's why I didn't wish that the Joker wasn't really, they didn't just say he's in the 80s and that, he can never fight anybody else. He's just we always kind of understand that Gotham is kind of its own entity and it's in some sort of period that you don't have to put a stamp on it. It's just like, because that type of stuff don't bother me because it's like you always kind of get a feeling it's an older city architecture wise and whatnot, but it's supposed to be set modern to an extent. So like, but always Gotham's aesthetic is always that it's an old, like a Gothic, type of city that's
it's Gothic New York.
So yeah. It just looks older than it is. And that's always the scenery basically is supposed to be set to that to kind of give it a more scarier, I think, type of feeling anytime you're seeing Batman in the night. And I mean, I wish we would have seen more of that.
Why was there like 1970s Crown Victorias driving around then?
That's just time warp, I guess. I mean, it's just like you're not really supposed to place this in reality. I mean, a guy dressed as a bat walking around fighting crime, we're not really supposed to place this in any type of realistic scenario. So,
fair enough.
Yeah. That's why I wish they wouldn't just go right into it and say, hey, let's try to make this like this could really happen or whatnot. Like, obviously, he's going to be arrested in a police station. He's a vigilante, for Pete's sake. You got to use your imagination with this.
I think they should have tied it in and put him in a mask. Like, it's COVID. We have a pandemic going around.
He's got a little logo on it.
Yeah, he's got the Batman logo on his. Oh yeah.
Can't have you just running around here all willy dilly without a mask on, Batman. We got a pandemic.
Like, what do you think you're doing in the jail cell without a mask, bastard?
Yeah.
You're gonna kill one of these inmates in Arkham Asylum, spreading those germs that a lot of people don't think we could live with.
At least the Riddler cares. He wears a mask. He covers his mouth.
Yeah,
covers his mouth with a gimp mask and duct tape.
Yeah, and he puts his glasses over it. He doesn't want to wear contacts. There's no such thing as contacts in this time and age. We just wear glasses.
Riddler's the extreme COVID paranoid freakazoid. Batman's the only one with his mouth exposed, infecting everyone.
He's just breathing. He's just breathing on everybody the whole time. He's like,
yeah. When Batman's walking down the hallway and all the cops are just kind of like following him, he's just like, they're just all dropping dead from COVID. He's breathing on everybody.
Batman, the free mouth breather, versus Riddler, the paranoid psycho COVID fearmonger.
It would have been funny if Riddler would have put a riddle out like, why are the numbers increasing in Gotham? And it's like, due to the bat. So here he is, just walking around breathing on everybody.
Well, see, that's the perfect segue because wasn't COVID created because some dude was eating bats?
That's
how it all started.
That was original. That was original.
Yeah. That's a whole different episode. You're gonna get.
It all ties together.
You're gonna get MC's gonna have to switch gears and go into his conspiracy theory.
Go back into our old archives for the beginning. Our last episode on iTunes is at the beginning of COVID, where we're still laughing before everything gets all deadly serious.
Everything was just like, this will pass 6 months.
Yeah, we'll be okay. Everybody's all right. There's nothing
2
to
years
worry
later.
about, folks.
We're talking about, man, did you ever go to the movie house after COVID? It was just such an experience. That's what it felt like is when I went in there.
People wondering, why isn't there a 51st episode of me podcast? You listen, did these guys die after making fun of the virus?
We just
never explained. They don't know that our YouTube show exists. They're like, wow, I was enjoying this iTunes show, but I guess they're dead now.
iTunes is so 2019. That went away.
Yeah, now we're on our
we're on YouTube with everybody else.
Picture and audio on YouTube, where we get to make funny pictures with Chris Rock, with Coach JC slapping me as Chris Rock, and
so let's
put the Ramrock in a WrestleMania photo.
Speaking of that, I almost had a Chris Rock incident last night on stage, MC. Yeah, just out of nowhere, this drunk just wanders into the bar where we're doing a show, walks past security, which there is none, and just wanders right up to the stage. And all I can see is in the distance, I can see a jersey and a white jacket walking towards the stage. And I'm thinking, is this guy using the restroom? And no, he comes right up on stage and just stands right in my face. Yeah.
What?
And so all I thought to myself was, you
were in the middle of your stand-up?
Yeah, I was talking.
Oh my gosh.
And so what did you say to him?
So in my head, there was like a Rolodex of things that went on. Like, do you shove him off the stage? Do you create a scene that looks uncomfortable? Do you analyze the situation and try to figure out like who this person is? And maybe they're related to someone here or not. He kind of looked like he just wasn't all there. So I just stared at him, and he just like, yeah, I didn't hear anything he said. And then I just patted him on the back, and I said, why don't you walk back over there? I feel like I was dealing with like just a moment. And I haven't had that
Jamie from the SWWF days would have killed the man, ripped his throat out, slammed his corpse off the stage.
I didn't know. I didn't know what to do. There you go,
buddy. Go back to your seat. I don't want to go to jail.
Yeah, I don't need this. I don't need this problem right now.
You definitely handled
funny.
It well, it sounds like.
So,
wow.
I've grown up a lot during these years.
You've matured into a adult comedian.
I all of a sudden just got on the microphone and I said, "I'm vengeance," and I just attacked him.
Yeah,
just beating him unmercifully with the microphone. Cut to a shot of a lady who's supposed to be Catwoman looking at him in horror as he's just nonstop sound of a mic hitting a skull.
Someone's in the corner just flickering the light switch so it looks even better.
People laughing like it's part of the show, but the guy's really being killed.
Well, that was the other part too. People came up to me and they said, "Hey, man, do you know that guy?" And I said, "No. Why would I know this guy? Like, hey, come on up here." Like, it just shows you how vulnerable you are on stage at the moment. That at any moment someone could just walk up and everybody else is just like, And then it made me think that maybe the Will Smith Chris Rock thing was real, because everybody just thought nothing about it. No one said anything. No one thought anything was going to happen. And then when it did happen, they're all just kind of stunned. Like, that was weird.
Are you legally able to carry a taser? Like, if somebody ever come up on stage, could you just tase him and then he just convulses? Because I mean, how else can you stop him without going to jail?
Well,
would you have to restrain him in a headlock?
Due to my experience as a bouncer for 2 years, I think I can handle myself. It's not like he attacked me; he just kind of was.
No, but I mean,
with one hand. What
MC, could you do without going to jail? You just get him in a headlock and just tackle him down.
Get him in a headlock. Get him in a headlock like elementary school, saying, "Say uncle, say uncle," and we're just scrolling around.
Say, I'm not going to come back on stage. Yell, "I'm not going to come back on stage ever again." Come on now. Oh, my arm.
Yeah, come here. I got you a juice box. Come over in the corner. Come over.
Juice box.
And
then you walk him to the seat and set him on the seat. Everything's okay, buddy.
Yeah,
sit down and enjoy the rest of the show.
He was not very big. I could have picked him up, put him on my lap, and I could have used him as a like a little dummy for the rest of the show.
Oh, there you go.
Ventriloquist dummy. Yeah.
All you say to yourself is, it's in the moment. It's just, you got to address the situation. But again, it just kind of shows you how vulnerable performers are when they perform on anywhere other than like a main stage. I mean, even Rocky, where he's at, any moment anybody can run into the ring and
absolutely,
create a problem. And everybody's always under the impression is like, well, if they go in, they know exactly what they're gonna get. But the problem is, it's not really how you look at it in the eyes of the law. So everybody's got to take some kind of like perspective on what you're seeing, unless you're physically being like in danger.
But maybe he needs a bodyguard.
Yeah, maybe he needs a little guy to handle someone who can handle themselves on stage.
Hey, all I know is in the pro wrestling world, I mean, let's go back to when Bret the Hitman Hart was inducted into the Hall of Fame, and some guy decided to take it upon himself and go after Bret.
Yeah,
we all saw the tragic end of that. FTR beat the crap.
But remember,
Foundation's induction.
He was insulted, but he was assaulted.
Right.
He was physically. If you get physically grabbed, by all means, you have to defend yourself.
Oh, absolutely. And as this guy, as like a swarm of wrestlers are handling this invader, like FTR is still punching this guy in the back as they're walking them out. So,
well, give it to Ronda Rousey's husband too. He was freaking all over that guy too. Yeah.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. I mean, you'll never be able to see it again because Peacock obviously censored all that. But
for lawsuit purposes, we can't ever show that again.
But watching it live, oh, absolutely, it was hilarious. That guy got everything coming to him. I mean, they were punching him as they were walking him out of the arena. Oh my gosh! Again,
it's one of those unfortunate events where. I'm not relating it to my situation with the wrestling. I mean, with the stage time, but it shows it shows what could happen. And so, not to get off track, let's do 10 minutes of going back to. We'll go to you, Rock, based on all the Batmans you've seen, and that Catwoman looked like she was wearing underwear for a mask on her face. How would? I mean, you could have done a better job with the mask. How would you say? In your opinion, the Batman movie related to other Batman movies?
Like in comparison, this definitely was not my favorite. But it wasn't horrible either. You know, I enjoyed the Christian Bale Batmans. That was probably my favorite series. My favorite take on the Batmans. But in comparison, this one wasn't horrible. Catwoman's outfit, I completely agree with you. And I also thought it was weird how they introduced her because, like, Robert Pattinson is kind of like spying on her and he's almost like being a pervert watching her undress. And that was just kind of like a weird introduction to her.
I have to go back and watch that.
Well, he was stalking her to see what her role was because she was basically a person of interest in that death of that, or that missing. I don't say death yet because I don't think he knew it at the time. She was a person of interest that knew something about the girl that went missing, basically, in that, you know, when he was first investigating what was going on at that club.
Yeah, and so, then
kind of stumbled upon her undressing, so to speak.
Right, but then
she wasn't Catwoman though. She was like she was doing that little. Secret Service thing that she was like.
Well, no, she was dressing up as Catwoman, so she was taking off her like club outfit and then putting on the Catwoman outfit.
Right.
But what threw me off, what made it like feel really pervy and weird, was like the camera kept like zooming back in on Batman's eye. Like Batman's like, "Oh yeah, she's undressing now." And then they go back to her, and then go back to like his eye. It was so weird.
That would have been funny if they did zoom in. He's like, "Oh yeah."
That's where you need that.
I'm vengeance.
Free copyright free porn music.
He just keeps yelling in the back. He just keeps saying in the background, "Did I tell you I'm vengeance?" Oh, that's great for you. Good for you. Yeah, we've heard it.
That's what I named my little friend, Vengeance.
You want to see Vengeance? We gotta go to see Penguin. So out of all the Batmans though, like which one do you think played the best Batman?
I think the best Batman was Christian Bale, hands down. And I can't believe I'm forgetting his name.
Affleck.
No, not Affleck.
Affleck is the best Batman, hands down.
Hey, no one asked you. Hey, no one asked you.
Hey,
so
you mentioned him. That's all I'm saying.
So Ben Affleck, that was the Batman versus Superman, correct?
Yeah, and Justice League.
So I actually haven't seen that, so I need to go back and watch.
Oh my goodness! And now you have HBO Max, so now you can watch the Snyder cut, dude. That's long, but
it's unveiling
it's
all
well
the possibilities for you, Rock. You can watch all the DC and everything, Marvel, everything you want on there.
Not Marvel.
Excellent.
That's all Disney.
Okay,
it's all DC stuff.
I know.
If MC says that Affleck is the best Batman, I've got to see this now.
Oh, he is by far. I mean, in that film and of where he's at in his Batman career, a lot of people are, no, he's reckless or that he's trying to kill Superman, whatever. You have to understand it's set in inspiration of the Dark Knight version of the Batman, the older Batman. He's more paranoid, and they set it up really well. The Batman versus Superman director's cut, which basically fills in a lot of the blanks for people who might not be hardcore, like, comics, I know this, that. It does a great job of making sure you understand exactly where the plot's going, and they should have never have edited that movie down to where it was. I highly recommend watching that. Great film. I think that the criticism on it for me is ridiculous. I feel like,
dude, you're like totally taking over Rocky's moment to explain which movie he likes the best in the Batman. He just jumped right in. Just because you got a microphone doesn't mean you can just talk anytime you want. Okay, we have to take turns
he
here.
needs to see it before he decides he needs to see it.
So Rocky, back to you. Which Batman were you talking about?
So my favorite Batman, of course, was Dark Knight, and mostly because I love the Joker, and I thought Heath Ledger's take on the Joker was the best, and it was just, that movie was incredible. I think I watched it 4 times in theaters. Like, that's how much I enjoyed that movie. So the Dark Knight was my favorite version of Batman.
Really? And what was the other Batman? What was the other Batman you're going to go with? Michael Keaton?
Michael Keaton, that was the one I was trying to think of. Thank you. Like, I thought Michael Keaton did the best Bruce Wayne, but I thought Christian Bale was the best Batman. That's where I was going with it. Michael Keaton, that's like my wife's favorite actor. How could I forget that name?
How do you feel about the new Beetlejuice possibly coming out?
Oh my gosh, I'm stoked, and Sarah is stoked as well. Sarah's my wife, for all the listeners.
That's
Miss Ramrock.
I'm more stoked about the Top Gun movie that's coming out. I'm telling you right now, we're gonna have to talk about that one. Top Gun sequel. Goose's kid comes back and's trained by Maverick. Oh, could you ask for a better right? I mean, that is probably the best movie theme ever. I'm gonna be all over that. It's gonna be cheesy. It's gonna be very cheesy, but it's going to be Top Gun. And they'll bring back that girl that was his girlfriend probably for Tom Cruise. I can't remember.
I don't remember that movie at all.
Yeah, you don't remember Top Gun at all?
No, at all.
Is that before you had
television?
Seen it once. You were probably television.
I was a toddler. I maybe seen it once, but I don't remember anything about that film.
Well, it's still around. Why don't you go and look it up on HBO Max? All right, MC.
I might have to.
Your favorite Batman?
Well, I was talking to Tone Rock. I think he definitely needs to see that one, because I believe on screen he looked like Batman. He had the gray tones offset. I think all these other ones. I love the Dark Knight. I'm with Rock on that. I just think his Batman looks ridiculous. Looks like a black volleyball on his head, and it just looks so goofy. Heath Ledger saved that volleyball movie. It just looks so ridiculous with that any outfit they've done. I mean, Keaton's was okay, tolerable to an extent because it had the oval and everything, but like any of the Nolan's, it was saved by the villain, basically Joker. That was the best film, I think, of the Batman films was The Dark Knight, but mostly Joker. Joker was so well written and done, and I mean, they shoehorned Two-Face in, but yeah, as far as Batman though, it's got to be Affleck. I
think that you are just you're a costume snob. You just don't like the costume. You're not even looking at the character.
That is part of it.
Based on the Batman, the way the little logo was designed on his shirt and the way it looked on his chest didn't look right with that one. So I think I'm going to go with. I think my favorite ridiculous Batman. If you think about it, though. My favorite Batman is Michael Keaton.
I like. You're going to say Adam West.
No, I was a toddler during that, so I think that the Batman for Michael Keaton was probably the funniest thing because it was a cartoon. It was a cartoon coming to life. That's why I think I liked it the most. Now we're watching the dark side of the Batman series and all that stuff. So I think what we're watching now is what you're getting into. What I'm assuming, I'm not a Batman fan, so I don't know the comic book, but now I'm understanding that the comic book is more dark, and so that's what I think you see now. And I think that's why I agree with you guys. I think I like the Dark Knight because I think it was probably one of the best Batman movies, and it was because of the Joker. I think it kind of painted the picture of how, and I think they tried to do that with this one. I think they tried to kind of get that Joker type vibe with the Riddler. It just didn't come off. It came off like you keep saying, MC. It came off more like a Saw type of movie.
Yeah.
And I think they could have done a better job not making it so dark, but though trying to give it that mysterious. Because I think Heath Ledger did a great job making the Joker funny and dark and just scary at the same time. But it wasn't it wasn't trying to be over the top. Like he didn't do anything super gory to people and try to create, like you said, try to create the mice chewing on people's face and all that stuff.
Yeah, nobody wants to see that in a Batman film. It's just so stupid, you know. The good thing they say this. I haven't seen the movie Heat. They say The Dark Knight is basically Heat, the movie Heat. But you know, and I haven't seen Heat. I really want to. I know that's supposed to be an awesome movie. And I would imagine so if The Dark Knight is basically a clone of that. But you can't clone Heath Ledger and the Joker's performance. So no matter who they have in that adversarial role in Heat, the Joker is one of a kind, and he carried that movie. So it's just when people say, "Hey, this is as good as The Dark Knight or better than Dark Knight," they're out of their minds. It's not even close. It's not even close to that.
Yeah. Heath Ledger did such a great job as the Joker. Like Batman was almost the afterthought in that movie.
Yes.
Like that's how good the Joker was. Like,
I
mean, everybody was Joker for Halloween after that movie came out.
Yeah,
How many freaking Jokers did you see? It was on The Office, for crying out loud.
I got a volleyball and I cut it and I made my Batman helmet out of it, considering that's what MC suggests that's what the helmet looked like. Was the volleyball.
Go and look at him if after the show, Google the images of Bale's Batman and tell me that don't look like a damn black volleyball on his head.
Oh my gosh.
Just looks ridiculous.
Maybe he had a headache and he needed a bigger helmet and he's like, I just don't want to wear that.
How can you take him? Part of the hilarious thing is Heath's Joker in the context of the film is making fun of him in his stupid voice. Is like, you know, why you want to kill me? And like Heath's going back in that interrogation room, and he's like, "You're gonna have to break your own rule," you know. And it was so funny because he's almost mocking him and how ridiculous he is in that universe. And in that scene, he's all lit up in the interrogation room. He looks ridiculous, and like how you supposed to scare somebody when you look like a damn volleyball?
Michael Keaton's Batman costume is the best.
I don't know if that's the best, but
dude, it is.
I liked it. I liked it for what it was at the time, but Ben just looks huge. He looks like Batman, and he surprised me because I wouldn't have cast a well-known actor. I always wish it would have went a little more unknown, but Ben knocked it out of the park for me. And as far as Batman versus Superman, the gray tones, how big he is, and how he looked like Batman in that scene in the warehouse. Oh, Rock, if you haven't seen that movie, you need to see it just for that scene in the warehouse where Batman, it's straight out of Arkham Asylum, the video game. That's the greatest Batman scene in any film.
I'm excited to watch this.
Oh, you got to watch it. You know
why I didn't watch it? Why straight away? I'm a huge Batman fan, but I can't stand Superman. And that's why I didn't watch it.
Well, you'll love it for that.
You'll like it. He beats the crap out of Superman all the time.
Yeah, you'll love it for that reason too. Yeah,
wait, he does?
Yeah.
I thought Superman whoops his ass. That's why
he kills him.
To watch that film. Yeah, you got to see that, man.
Oh well, now I can't wait. I'm gonna watch it.
Did you not watch any of the other part where the Superman comes back to life? They bring Superman back to life.
That's Justice League. I don't think he's seen any of those.
Yeah, that just tells you right there that he dies, and you got to see it. It's pretty intense.
Oh, well, then I'm going to love it. Yeah, I can't wait to watch it.
Director's cut, though. Make sure you watch the director's cut. Yeah, go for the director's cut.
Because they do have a part in there where Christian Bale comes in with a volleyball head on his head, and he's like, "Do you guys think we can paint this black and put this on my head?" And they're like, "Dude, get out of here.
Where's my movie franchise?
We're using Ben Affleck's helmet. Okay, so you guys just go ahead and get out of here. All right,
now, you guys just to." Oh, go ahead.
Yeah. I was just going to say a quick plug for the Pete Holmes Badman on YouTube. If you watch those, he really makes them look ridiculous.
Dude, it's so
on there.
funny.
It's just so
funny.
So hilarious. Those are so funny. Yeah.
Real quick, whose favorite Batmobile in all the movies? What was your favorite Batmobile?
I don't really care about
Coach JC. I would say you have.
They're so over the top. They're also over the top. The original Michael Keaton one was probably the best.
Well, no, if we're including the 66 one, that's the most badass one, obviously.
That one is stupid. They could have thrown rocks.
Oh, dude.
He didn't even have a roof. They could have just run over and punched him in the face.
Cool as fuck, though. I know for practicality purposes, it's not the Hummer. If you're talking about the most effective one, a Bat Tank is probably. But as far as one I'd want to drive around in, of course it would be the 66 one. But, most probably realistic Batman one would be probably Keaton's was cool looking, but you can't go against the 66 one though as far as coolest one.
We're gonna have to wrap this up. So go ahead, Rock. Which one's your favorite?
I mean, of course, my favorite was the freaking Bat Tank, but the Batman, holy crap, that was the worst Batmobile ever. That was like a freaking Chevy Nova. I was like, what the hell is this? This is not a Batmobile. So, was not a fan of the Batmobile in the movie at all.
All right. Well, again, we just discussed nonsense in movies. So, Rock, make sure you watch the movie Superman versus Batman so we can get your take on it. As we wrap this up, we podcast, you listen. Hopefully, it's a better audio experience for our listeners. Please write to us, subscribe, and send out information regarding what you think. And also, remember to subscribe. That's the biggest thing. Anything else, MC?
Yes. Yeah, just like you said, like the video, share, subscribe, all that good stuff. Appreciate you coming on, Rock, and joining me and Coach JC. Always love having you on the show.
Always so much fun, guys. Thanks for having me.
All right, me podcast, you listen.